the power of employee engagement, strategies to drive motivation and productivity. So I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our moderator, Mr. Hemant Ravi, Senior Vice President and Group HR at Casagran. With over 17 years of diversified HR experience across industries, Mr. Hemant is a strategic and innovative HR leader who is on mission to drive people transformation, culture, talent strategy, and deliver amazing people experience at Casagran Premium Builders Private Limited. They go with the hashtag for Bharat, that is which has 3,900 plus employees spread across real estate, education, hospitality and warehousing industries under Casagran umbrella. Let me take this opportunity to also introduce our panelists, Mr. Guruvayurappan, PV, CHRO, Omega Healthcare Management Services, Ms. Karuna Casuba, Vice President HR, Homeland, Mr. Jubin Kapasi, HR Head, Product Enabling Myntra, Mr. Nitin Nahata, CHRO Gamescraft, and last but definitely not the least, Mr. Sidhartha Mehra, CHRO Zolo. So can we please welcome our moderator and panelists on the dais with a round of applause.
Okay, I was with the moderators and organizers. Sorry for the delay. We've been told to keep it short for 25 minutes. Okay, so I'm Hemant Kumar Ravi. I had company HR, group HR role for a company called Casagran. Bring around 17, 18 years of work ex through Accenture, Wipro Consulting, AB InBev, Reliance, L&T Middle East, bit of AB InBev, GCC setup, and Kantar was the last company. Now, we have prominent speakers here. I'll give a chance for them to quickly tell something about you and how you're passionate about employee engagement. And then we'll pick it up from there, okay?
Sure. Something about me and then employee engagement. Okay, so I think something about me is very easy. CHRO for Omega Healthcare and employee engagement, being in this HR field for 35 years. So that is the only thing that I would have done in my experience. So I will pass it on to her.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Karuna. I lead the HR practice at Homeland. I come with 12 years of experience, but throughout my career, I understand that how important employee engagement is, because I've seen that for myself. If I'm engaged with my organization, I'm happier there, I'm being more productive there, and I believe that that is something that is the cornerstone for all employees, and that's something that is in the front and center for all HR professionals. So that's something that I believe in. Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Jubin. I lead the HR for all the people experiences at Myntra. I also head the real estate and admin at Myntra. I believe employee engagement is more of employee experiences, people experience in the center of everything we do, and everything revolves around it. So not even a question that do we believe in employee engagement, it is just in the DNA, it has to be in the DNA.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Nitin Nahata. I'm the group CHRO for Gamescraft, which continues to be a bootstrapped company and the most profitable one in the Indian subcontinent. When it comes to employee engagement, I feel one thing that differentiates a good organization from great organization is its employees. And if they're engaged, they can turn any challenge into an opportunity for you. And I think I have seen that happening in Gamescraft in the last 2.5 years of mine with them.
Thank you. Sidhartha Mehra. So people, process, technology, all three add up to profitability. People is the backbone of everything that we do. And I think in the current times that we are all living, where there is a lot of challenges out there, I think it is our responsibility to drive honest effort towards employee engagement. Thank you.
Thank you. All of you have a mic, so instead of passing, just use your mic so we save 1 minute, okay? Now, let's make it interesting and fun. It's 20 minutes between us and your lunch, okay? First thing, data point, Gallup 2023 survey, 27% of the employees are engaged. We all know engaged, disengaged, and highly disengaged. Those guys will rub the shoulder and ensure that other guys also leave the company, right? All of us are in HR, dealing with this, typically in IT companies, GCC companies, consulting firms, having high attrition in sales org, go-to-market team, right? So, point to you, sir. Engagement is important. How do you ensure it is long-lasting and HR is not burning out while doing this? Guru, sir, to you.
Engagement is how it is long lasting.
What are the pillars of
Pillars.
engagement and how you ensure it is
I
long
take
lasting?
this opportunity to just seek the answers from the audience, right? Because if somebody wants to respond to him, any takers?
23% of the workforce is engaged as per the last Gallup survey. 77% of the folks are disengaged or highly disengaged. How many of you have changed company last 1 year? Show of hand, quickly. Last 1 year. Job switch. Okay, good. Now hands are popping. So just like it's a close HR team, right? So I hope that we'll be honest to ourselves. Or looking for a change right now in next 1 year. Okay, don't show of hand. But that's the fact,
Yeah.
So HR, right? So
what
how
is
do you
your
make...
How
As
do you
a-
make the engagement, sustainable, long term? Anybody wants to answer? Because that is a question posed to me. I am outsourcing that.
We really want to make it fun, guys.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, sir. How
Sense
do
of
you
purpose.
sense of purpose?
Good.
Very good.
More pointers.
Anybody?
Sense of purpose. Why we are doing what we are doing. What else?
Because you are seeing this side, we wanted people to concentrate on you. Yeah, please, please.
I think we can all follow a simple concept of ESAT is, if not equal, equivalent to CSAT, and I think that will show us some good changes.
Purpose, ESAT is equal to CSAT. Anybody else would like to join?
Yeah,
Please.
self-growth along with the company goals. Along with the development of the company, employee self-growth is also important.
Employees growth
How-
along with
how
companies
the
growth.
organization can ensure self-growth? That is something which you want. Giving an opportunity for learning and grow in the organization. Yes, sir.
I think the best way to have a long-lasting engagement is to give the employees with good managers and leaders in the organization.
Excellent point that he made it. Ensure that you have the right leadership capability, committed and accountable leaders who will make the subordinates highly engaged. Last one, because I got only 2 minutes. No, I wanted to.
On a lighter note, Guru sir, is just what you're doing. Hearing our voices and listening and, saying that, yeah, we hear you. I think this is also important.
Good you picked
Fantastic.
up actually. That was the intent
that
that
was
the
the whole
panelists were
intent.
trying to do.
I think along with the purpose, it's basically empowering our employees to the vision and mission of the organization. So in that way, the leadership is not a top-down kind of thing. Also, it goes from the bottom up, saying that, empowering your employees, they come up with different ideas and they actually help you in the goals of the organization in that way.
Excellent. So we got about 5 points. You wanted to add, sir? Yes, please.
The employee engagement programs to unity building and some security for the jobs for them, and their career growth ensured within the company is a big play in this program, I think.
So it is all about job security. That's what you are talking about. So how do you create job security? How do you empower the employees? How do you create purpose?
I believe any employee joining a company, he not only joining for a money, he is joining for a meaningful contribution and the connect with the organization. Purpose.
Organization purpose, whether that is meeting the employees' larger goal. Thank you very much. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, lot of inputs I think we all resonate to. The next point to us was, while 27% of the folks are engaged, we are working in a kind of hybrid work, and I'll topple the question. That was late question, but given the kind of remote working model, hybrid working model that we are operating in or trying to pursue, there's a yang and yin of that part, right? Should we be remote working? Should we not be remote working? All of you guys must be doing so ESAT, CSAT, then next stage is NPS that we have been driving, right? How many of you guys are in for hybrid working, remote working, like say 2 days, 3 days in a week? Show of hand. Let's do the survey. We'll know 100 odd companies we are representing, right? It's still less than 30%. Are you aligned? It's a company policy. That's why you're not raising hand, or permanent work. So working from Goa. Show of hands. Seriously, you're saying, like, how many people are interested in some form and shape of work from home? Flexibility, basically. 100%. Awesome. So, sir, to you, the question is, how do you ensure flexibility while the entire crux of engagement is intact, wherein, the managers are able to effectively communicate to the employees and still get the work delivered in remote work? So how do you, see that engagement being intact in that scenario?
Yeah, I think, thank you for the question. Look, everybody started with the most important philosophical point about every person working is a sense of belonging, a sense of passion and purpose, and a sense of connectivity, which is all about meaningful relationships. I think we don't put enough emphasis on meaningful relationships within our workspace. I think a lot of our relationships are purely transactional in nature. Now, how do we solve for employee engagement in a remote setup? There is no straight answer for that. Sometimes you have very pressing priorities. I'll take one example. Let's say you're an organization based out of Bangalore and you have, let's say, 100 people working here and you have 10 people working in Pune. And you have a foundation day celebration. So all 100 are invited, right? Now what do you do about the 10, right? Now some set of people will say, well, they can have their own party in Pune, enjoy that. The other set of people will say, well, let's invite them to here. But somebody from a finance team will stand up and say, well, there is a travel, there is living, there is this, there is continuity of operations. We can't do it, right? I don't think there is any right answer or there is a wrong answer to solving for something like that, but it certainly needs to be addressed in the context of your organization, which means it has to be addressed in the context of your values and beliefs, right?
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Any question you can ask during the session only. You don't need to wait for the session to end. So feel free to raise hand and ask the question, okay? One more trivia. So as per the Gallup, another survey, the productivity loss that happens because of not so engaged or disengaged, highly disengaged employee, 18 to 34% of your annual salary is lost because of this non-productivity, which can be as a result of or a factor of absenteeism, turnover, and lower performance. How many of you guys agree, and what we can do, Karuna? That will be a follow-up question to you. Okay? So, do you guys agree to this? That if you're not engaged, it will reflect into some form and shape? Yeah. And as an HR, you have been able to track that for 500, 700, 2,000 odd employees you manage? Realistically? You can see that, these people are not engaged, and what do you do about it? Okay? Karuna, over to you.
Right. So I think this is a problem that all of us are obviously rippling with on a day-to-day basis. But engagement means different things to different people, right? When I feel that I want to be engaged with the organization, I'm looking for meaningful jobs, meaty work to do, and some sort of exposure to the leadership team, etc., etc. For somebody else, it may just be some freebies in the cafeteria, free lunch, right? For some of them, it may be about, like somebody said, just wanting to be heard, just wanting to understand that, I have a certain situation, just try and help me debottleneck that, and then I'll be fine. Right? But having to do all of these things, I think there's an entire range of activities all of us in this room collectively do to be able to address that. Be it communications, one-on-one conversations, be it those pulse check-ins that we do, be it benchmarking ourselves with some of the top organizations that, benchmark themselves as the best ENPS scores, etc. All of that is definitely intel into what is it that we can do to be able to make the organization more engaged. But I feel that if somebody is going to be able to see meaning in what they're doing, if they're seeing growth, if they're seeing progression, if they're seeing recognition from their leadership team, I feel all of that really ends up becoming engaged and leading to the engagement of the employee. And that also helps in ensuring that we don't have too much turnover, like you were saying. Attrition is not going to be so much of a concern. If all of these things are taken care of, retention is also taken care of, then all of the right boxes are being checked. Or my compensation is going to be taken care of. I don't need to overpay somebody just to be able to hire them from the market. I'm not going to be able to having to spend, on recruitment firms, etc. So all of those things are something that I think that all organizations are anyway doing on a regular basis. It just needs a lot more intervention, and it is not like a one size fits all. It has to be very, very catered to what different people want at different junctures of their career in the organization.
Thank you. Thanks for your insights. The next fun trivia, as per the Work Institute 2023 survey, retention report, 1 in 4 employee plans to leave the job in next 1 year, 25%. While you guys didn't show of hand, I hope that's the number we are looking at, right? Another one, as per OC Tanner's survey, 79% of employees who quit their job cite lack of appreciation and recognition as a key reason for leaving the company. Jubin, to you. Sorry, Nitin. Sorry, Nitin. Question is to you. What are the unique things or key engagement strategy or framework you have created? Because these are all the way they say. The content is king, but context is the kingdom. So while you can do 10 different stuff, you should know why you are doing what you are doing, and it serves to the larger purpose of having an intact, integrated recognition framework or employee engagement framework. So something you can throw lights on.
Since everybody has been talking about how engaged your employees are, I think one of the best litmus tests for someone is that when you get up in the morning, how excited are you to go to work? So at Gamescraft, we believe that ensuring people coming to work is not the real test of engagement, but how are you ensuring people are excited to come to work? And that's the underlying principle on which all the engagement activities or initiatives at Gamescraft are designed from. One of the important element for us at Gamescraft is that we think that the social fabric of the organization plays a very important, whether you feel you have been a part of the organization beyond the role that you do. If you are a techie, or if you are a product manager, or if you're a marketing person, am I even engaging you beyond what you're delivering to the work? And that social fabric plays a very important role in terms of employee being engaged, and more importantly, how are you creating those fences where when an employee is considering a opportunity outside, what are some of those factors which are not tangible in terms of, am I losing a good friend, I'm losing a good boss, or the working environment where I'm working becomes very important. Now, all of that is very fine, but it also becomes important how is these engagement activities are actually supporting or enabling work. Gamescraft is a product and a tech company, and I think collaboration plays a very key role in terms of we being able to deliver outstanding and differentiated products. In a startup environment, it's very easy said than done, because very often silos and subcultures get created because of the org design that we operate in. And expecting collaboration without diluting the speed of execution is really, really a challenging issue for both the leaders and the HR. And we often believe that all of this can be really achieved in case you create a parallel organization or a parallel setup where these boundaries of designations and functional boundaries are actually being dissipated. And we believe sports is a very important way of doing that. One of the initiatives we have is a KPL, where very often on sports you believe that people are being valued for what they bring from a skill set perspective and not from the designation or the years of wisdom they bring to the table. And we have had a situation where our CEO and the founder was just a player in the cricket team, and one of the youngest hired management trainee was the captain because he was a trained batsman. He was actually giving the instructions in terms of, who has to bat when and what should be the field setup like. Now, when you have these setups where designations are not being used or levels are not being used for deciding who is giving the order, all of this also rubs into when you go back to the work environment, because it opens up people in terms of the way they talk and they interact, and that boundaries get dissipated. I think one of that has helped us in terms of ensuring collaboration happens. The second important element is that very often when we end up talking about policies, who do you think are making the policies in your organizations? Anyone? CEOs, HR, very often HR is supposed to be the custodian of the policies, and very often, whenever there is a change in the policy, the biggest problem that we is that how do we communicate, especially when it is not in the interest or you are taking away some of the benefit. Is it true? Right? Now, at GameStop, we have flipped the entire policy. We are saying that HR is not the person or the team that's actually making up the policies. We have a council of employees called culture crafters. They have been selected people. They are the one who end up playing an active role in terms of review of our policies. When they are the part of the people who are actually playing the active role in deciding the tenets of the policy, communication becomes far more easier, because these being the employees play a very important role even in communication and addressing the concerns that people often have about the policies. I think these two things have really helped in ensuring that engagement with the organization, engagement on account of benefits and policies is something that's holistic, and employees are playing an important part in terms of defining them.
Quite insightful. Thank you. Again, one trivia. As per the Global Happiness and Well-being Policy Report 2022, they say that employees with high well-being are 21% more likely being productive, and their probability of staying in the organization will be higher. To that, Jubin, the question to you is, Myntra is going through the change or the transition with Walmart acquisition and stuff like that. You are a biggest e-commerce platform. How do you take care of well-being of the employees? And while doing that, what are the kind of technology implications or interventions you have done to make it go to the last mile?
So I think at Myntra, we believe in keeping it very simple. I think what's happened over the last decade is just a lot of this employee engagement has become a buzzword, technology advancements and et cetera, et cetera. But we forget that sometimes just keeping it simple, going back to the basics is all that builds on employee engagement. And I think we truly believe in, or rather the team truly believes in that employee engagement, even before that, is about employee experiences. I think if the experiences are right, you build stickiness, you build engagement. So I think one thing that we do very, very well at Myntra is build employee experience in the continuum. What happens is we have always seen, when you talk about employee engagement, we look at different pockets of the life journey and say, okay, let's look at technology as an example to invest here, versus we forget the whole continuum. And when I say continuum, if you really just put it in one line, it would be from -4, from the time the person is going to join, -4 days, to probably the last day or even after that as an alumni of the organization. How do you build experiences? I think if you build experiences, engagement is a byproduct of that. And I think that's what we very, very focus on at Myntra, is building those experiences and investing in technologies in the continuum, right? You could have the best ATS, you could have the best checking the pulse kind of a tool, everything. But then if your reimbursement tools, if your learning, the LMS is not up to the mark, not something that's built stickiness to your multi-dimensional workforce that exists today, starting from millennials, Gen Zs, alphas, if you will, you're anyway not going to build stickiness, you're not going to build engagement. So I think it's very important, in particular Myntra, we look at the whole continuum as an experience, and we believe if we tick that off, engagement is a byproduct. And I think what Karuna said is very, very important, and we believe that in Myntra is, we don't follow cookie cutter approach in engagement, because it doesn't work. It has to be very personal, it has to be very contextual to each individual, because how engagement for me is very different for how engagement is someone else. So we are let's look at a horizontal of experience. If that's taken care, then individual engagement will come into play. So that's the way we look at it at Myntra.
Thanks for being candid. Now we have 3 minutes. I'll have pointed questions and pointed answers, okay? First question, can you share quick examples of how engagement initiatives were taken and what was the ROI or measurement impact? What are the KPIs on which you measured it? Platform can be any of the listening skills platform or sensitivity index mapping. So anything that you guys have done scientifically to gauge engagement in any of your organization. Open to all.
I can start. And so I think one thing that's worked for us is the leading indicators, right? We typically, so we have invested again in technology, like I said, but in a tool that that looks at the mood of employees at different milestones in their career. The milestone could be 1 month in the organization, could be 6 months, 1 year, so on and so forth. And it's an AI-driven.
Where do you gauge it? Which platform?
We have an internal
Platform,
that we built on
Moodometer or
AI.
kind of 1 month,
Exactly.
3 months
Correct.
kind of district.
Correct.
Okay. Any other example, guys? In the interest of time, I want to hear more perspective. Anything like, KPI driven, sentiment analytics, stuff like that.
So for us, as Jubin was talking about, engagement starts even before the person joins, right? For us, I think the key important thing is your joining ratios. Once a person takes an offer, what is the probability of the person joining you? And initially we had around 60 to 65% joining ratio. And that was really a very thing from a business standpoint, because last minute if a person doesn't join, it has a huge impact and the cycle continues. So one of the things we identified that how can you engage with a potential candidate and make him more comfortable and know what he's joining for. So right from the offer being given to him to the day he joins, there were several interactions with him from the hiring manager, HR, some his of buddies and the peers to make sure that he's very comfortable knowing the culture and the setup where he or she is going to join. And all of these were including the round of the team, office team where he's going to be working with. And it had a significant impact because today, when we talk about our joining ratios, has gone up from 65-70% to around 85 to 90%. And that's the metric that we have been using.
Makes sense. Sid, question to you. What are the future trends you foresee in employee engagement? With all the Gen AI coming in, people working remote, what are the couple of future trends you foresee?
Sorry. You were talking about some stats, Hemant. As per the WHO report, right, there is $1 trillion that is cost the companies across the world because of lost productivity, right? And that is linked to employee wellness. Employee wellness is linked to employee happiness, and happiness is linked to engagement, right? At the end of the day. The way I look at in the future is you will see a lot more adoption of technology in terms of predictive analytics, in terms of wearable devices, in terms of AR, virtual reality, augmented reality, all of that will happen, right? But the key that we will have to drive is, in my mind, first is this balance between consumerism and employee centricity, right? These are two different behaviors. As an organizations, we want to drive consumerism, but as an employer, we want to drive employeeism, right? That's the first thing. The second is the investment in middle management, right? I mean, I sometimes feel sorry for them, right? You're working as an individual contributor, the next day you are, designated as a team leader. It's like you were learning driving in the side lanes, and the next day somebody tells you go and drive the car in Sarjapur or Marathali. I mean, there is no road to drive, right? And somebody sitting on the top thinks you can drive an aeroplane, and there is an airstrip, and you can just go, right? It doesn't happen, right? And the last is, we have to believe in the values and belief system. I think there is too much overemphasis on culture. In my mind, the emphasis should be on values and beliefs, and that alignment has to happen between the organization and the employees to make those values and belief systems are in sync. Hemant, and therefore I think, to me, these are the three big things that we will have to drive. Rest technology will anyways take care of.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Last question, Karuna, Guru sir. While we are all people of wisdom, we know everything. What are the barriers? Why it is not happening in the company? Is it to do with the industry that we are operating in? Is it to do with the geography we are in operating in developing countries? What is it about? Why we have attrition at 25-30% or engagement is low?
I think it's the same things, right? We do go back to not doing some of these things in that format is the only reason.
Would
that
the not get to
it's
all the
in
things
our
that we are
mind.
supposed to do? We are not doing
Absolutely. I
those.
think if we are able to do some of these things that the panel as well as all of our guests have also been able to tell us, I think we will be able to do it. It's all in our mind not being able to do something.
See, in addition to that, also market driving. So attrition we cannot be directly correlate to the engagement. Okay, so at some point in time, the career aspirations in those growing organization may be met. In certain organization, your career aspirations may not be met, but you may be highly engaged. So we cannot be correlate between the attrition and the engagement. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. With this, we'll wrap up because we've heard the bell twice. But I think there's no one size fit all to the cookie cutter model that he has told about. We need to go and see, listen to the employees the way Guru sir was trying to do that. Understand what works for the employees, create a kind of ERG group with the team, and try to solve the problem, which will be a long journey like marathon rather than a sprint. Okay, with that, we wrap up. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Check. Thank you so much, Mr. Hemant Ravi, for moderating the session. I would like to call upon Mr. Gautam Gupta to do the honors by felicitating our moderator and our panelists.